Hello, Justine D'Andrea here with Creative Faith Cafe, and also a new member of the creative team for Faith Art Design Studio. And today we're going to be working on a beach bag. I will also be doing some videos using the Beaches Calling devotional from Dayspring, and there's a link in the description if you would like to purchase that. I'll just be doing a little bit of study with that. And this is my original beach bag that Diane and I were working on together. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun putting this together. And what you'll see is if you watch Diane's video, Diane Mara's video from the Faith Art Design Studio, her beach bag is inside of her beach bag is completely different than mine. She is more of a junk journaler, and I'm more of a uh, album type person, I guess you could say. I'm thinking I like to put more pictures of things in um, my projects, like pictures of my family and stuff. So a little bit different, but that's what's really great about um, the printables that you can just basically do what you want. And I hope to show you some other fun ideas that I come up with, designs of with the printable. You see that there's two different colors. I just want to mention this because when I first printed out my printables, my digital printables, I didn't have it on a high standard for the printing part. So what you're seeing here is exactly what we're going to make as the foundation of our journal. And then we're going to, in each video, I'll do two devotions, and we're just going to talk about the devotion, and then we'll have some fun. I'm excited for you to be joining us on this journey, and as we go to the beach, this material reminds me of the beaches in Maine. So not the beaches here in Florida, but um, I hope you're ready to join us and share with your friends. Let them know that the study will be on the YouTube page, and I believe Diane is doing her own study too with this. Alrighty. I think it's time for us to get started. Again, just go ahead and check out the description for some of the fun links there. All right, we're going to start with our first manila folder. And we're going to cut it on with the fold against we want the fold, so we want to fold on top. And your tab, if you want to keep your tab, you're going to put it on the left. Well, we're going to use both pieces of this. So our first cut is at 6.5, and we're going to go ahead and cut that. We're going to set that aside because we're going to use that later. And then we're going to score. So how I like to score is from my score line. So my first score line I'm going to make, and that is at 6. No, each one is going to be 4.5. Sorry. So I'm going to go to 4.5. Make sure that you're starting from your file, not the tab. So the actual file part of it. I don't want to cut it. I almost cut it. I want to grab my scoring knife. So it's 4.5. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. It's 4.25. It's 4.25. I just remembered. So we're going to do 4.25, 4.25. Move it over. Put your score line on the 4.25. Do it again. And then from that point, go over again to 4.5. So that makes it so much easier. And then your last page is going to be 4.5. So it's 3 scores, 1. And that's not going to be on the fold, so you got to remember that. It's going to be off the normal fold there. 3, 4. Okay. So we have 4 1/4, and then the last one page is actually going to be 4 1/2. You'll see it's a little bit off, and that's okay. All right, so that's our first one. Our second one, we're gonna cut score that also, but before we score it, we need to um, fold it back up and then cut it to 4 1/2. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and score, and we're gonna do it similarly to how I did it before. My first score line is going to be at 5 1/2. So I've opened up the folder and I'm scoring at 5 1/2. Again, you want to make sure that you're folding it from the true folder, not from the tab. So 5 1/2. And then I'm going to scoot it over and do 6 3/4. So my fold line is where 6 3/4 is. And then I'm going to go ahead and score that. And going to move it over and I'm going to do 3 1/4. So my score line will be on 3 1/4, and I will go ahead and score it there to the right. So this is making a fold, like a folder. It's making some folds for us. And I will show you, we're gonna bend that there, bring that up and bring that down. So this is going to go on the inside of our beach bag. Okay. All right, so we're gonna cut along this edge here to make a pocket. And we're just basically taking the edge off. It's a very thin trim, and you can do that on a cutting board if you'd like. And I'm going to show you here. This is my example. That's where I kind of put some stuff from my kit. We're going to glue on the edge here. I don't see why you can't use tape. I think glue holds a little bit better. So I like to glue more than tape, but it's just that short little piece there to hold that down. And it just takes a few seconds for this glue. And then we're gonna add our outside piece. Now, you can use the printable that she gave you, that Diane gave you, or one of our other ideas was to use material, like a beach theme material on the outside. I don't know if Diane is gonna make a sample of that. We'll find out. All right, so we're gonna take the two main pieces that we cut. And we're going to glue them on in. So I'm doing it with the handle on the right side, and I'm just taking that whole piece and putting it on the right side, kind of like centering it. Just holding it a few seconds. This, I have to say, came out so cool. I just love the way this purse came out. Lots of room to do fun things with. And if you're a beginner, I just don't want you to get discouraged because, as you go on, you're going to learn different techniques and different ways to do things. And I tell you, we can have 10 people in the room doing the same project and no one is going to have the same one. So this is a cool thing I found from Diane. This is a stapler that you can buy. I bought this one on Amazon and it's really good for little books like this or little things where you can't actually get far into the fold, and you don't want to buy a really big stapler. This one works really great. So I just got to try to remember how to use it. And you don't want to actually put it on the crease of the bag. You want it on either side. And depending what depth you want it, um, is up to you. And I don't have staples, so I got to get some staples. Okay, staples are going in. And you can use colored staples or you can use regular staples. You want to make sure that you're stapling it this way because we're going to cover the back of the staple and then this way you won't hurt yourself or whatever. And make sure that you are not stapling the folders together. So like see, because you'll see in a second, I stapled the piece. You want to line it up with what's in there already. And staple. And like I said, you could go in as far as you want. I didn't go in too far. I don't know why. I think on the second one I do. But you're going to see here, yay, we got it. And then, oops, I'm stuck. See, I don't want to do that. You want to make sure that it's pulled out all the way. And you'll see that in a second. Of course, we can very easily take the staple out, which is nice. But what I recommend is go ahead and pull out your whole flap there and then staple it. But I love this stapler. This is so cool. It's one of those things that you got to get, right? This time I decided to go in a little further. All right. So we have two portions of our beach bag put together. I love it. I love it. And now we're going to take our second folder. And we're going to cut we're going to cut 6.5 at first. Wait. Yeah. 6.5. So placing the fold against the we want the fold, put it that way. All right, so we got our 6.5, and then we're going to turn it. We don't want to cut the fold. We want to keep the fold because it's going to be another page for us. So you're going to yep, that one's 6.5. You're going to turn it. Do not cut the fold, and we're going to move it over to 4.5. Okay. And the 4.5 piece is actually going to go in our book. And the other two pieces you can use in the book as well. You can use them as tags or extra tip-ins or whatever. As we go along, we'll show you. In this video, we're just doing the basics, and as we do the lesson, we'll go through and I'll show you how I designed it for each week. And now we're going to staple it in next to the one we just stapled in. the accordion thing. Try to line them up as best as you can. And we got that one. And then we got another one. And I'm just showing you there how you can slide it in as far as you want. Love the stapler. Again, it's not very expensive at all. So it might be something if you want to continue to do journals like this, smaller journals. That'll be fun. All right. So this one, in our original one, we did cut it down. You can cut it down to maybe 3.5 or 4 or whatever. I kept it at like a 4.5 by the 6.5. I just kind of wanted everything to be the same. Just make sure that when you fold the the beach bag, that it closes. And the tab there, you can cut that if you want, but I just think it's cool. I say you can get it if off, chop it off, totally up to you. I'm okay with it. Be unique, be yourself, have fun. And I just hope that you guys will post your finished projects in Creative Faith Cafe on the Facebook page or the community group. That would be fun. Okay. All right, let's do a flip through so we can see what we have so far. We have our one page there that has the pocket where I actually put my postcards from the printables in there. On my demo one, I have a little flap there. So that's like a tip in. I got confused for a second. That's just a tip in. That's the first page. So that's the first page there. And then that's the second one. There's the third one. And then we have our fold out. It's attached there. And then we fold out. And then we have our flip up and our flip down. Very good. Okay. That is basics. That is the basics. And then you can choose to close that pocket there or you can leave it open. I left it open to add more of the ephemera and the pictures in case I want to add to it later. It's all together. But basically, that is our basic portion of the inside of the cover. Now we're going to take the outside and you can use this printable or you can, again, we had toyed with the idea of going to Dollar Tree. They have those fabric pieces there that you can purchase for $1.25 and put that on the outside. I would probably use Mod Podge to do that on the outside if I'm using fabric. So I'm just marking off on my paper. Actually, I'm going to do it this way, where I want it to be cut. So I know some people actually like to put the whole piece on. I think Diane does it that way. She puts the whole piece on and she cuts after it, after she's glued it on. Totally up to you. You can also measure it with a ruler and do it that way. I just chose to do it this way. Okay. I'm going to glue the back piece on first. I love those colors. Those colors are so cool. And I think on my original one, I didn't round the corners, but for me to look like a beach bag, I think I'm going to round the corners. So I'm using a corner rounder and I'm just going to round the edges there, round the corners. You know, it's these little things that you think of as you go along because you remember, oh, I could do this or I could do that. And that's what makes it fun and makes it yours, you know. Just be careful because I did glue it down and it was a little off, but that's okay. This journal is for me. If I was making it as I just hurt myself. If I was making it as a gift for someone, I would care a little bit more about it. But because it's for me, I'm not gonna worry. So we're gonna think about the handle, what kind of handle that you want. Now this one I just used ribbon and I glued it on the inside. If you are using ribbon, you want to make sure you keep extra because as you fill your um, journal, it gets thicker and you don't want it to not close. So you got to think about that. So you might want to use an elastic. And I found in my junk stash some elastic that I'm going to use from, I guess it was from another project. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the back on. I don't know if you can hear Ozzy. Ozzy's hanging out with me. And I'm pretty sure that Diane will give instructions how to print your printables. But I do want to say you want to be careful as far as um, not be careful, but I used photo matte paper. I used it on high, um, not standard print, but like a high print because the color does matter, the dimension of the color. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. If you just want to print it out your normal ways, go right ahead. But you want to review that part of it. I'm just going to go ahead and use some Aleene's glue. Before you put the glue the cover down, you want to glue in whatever you're going to use to attach. We're going to put a button on the other side. So you want to make sure that this is sandwiched in between your bag and your front cover. And let it really dry before you start pulling on it. I guess you could hot glue it in if you wanted to. I just chose not to. This is such a cute. All right. And I really don't think the outside of this beach bag needs too much. I maybe ribbon or something like to look as like part of the handle, but I honestly, this print is just so cool. Just make sure before your glue dries it lines up because like I said, mine was a little off. I tried to move it, but it didn't work very well. Alrighty, moving on. You mean I'm not perfect? Okay. So I'm going to let that dry up. Once it dries up, then towards the end, we'll add the button to it and I'll show you what I did. You can totally use any enclosure that you want. You can just use ribbon and just wrap it. Just remember to add extra ribbon if you use it ribbon instead of the elastic because when it closes, it's going to be a lot bigger. So now we start the fun part of getting it ready to put some of our background pieces in. I kept this very clean and very simple. You can edge whatever you want with ink. You can edge the printables. You can edge the pages themselves. In Diane's, you'll see that she did a lot of edging in it. She did a lot of inking, is what I mean. She took probably her vintage photo. A lot of people use vintage or any ink color, and you can just ink the edges. All right, so I'm cutting it down here. I'm gonna just do a simple 4¼ by 6¼ on every single one of these pieces, and that's just gonna give me a little bit of a border around each piece. You can also choose to use your corner rounder if you want, or you can actually even do um, tearing if you wanted to do tearing. I think I might go a little bit quicker because these are all basic. Um, they're all basically, like I said, 4.5 by 6.5. Um, but you can switch up the any pages you want. I'm just giving you the examples of what I did. Okay, before I move it, let it go quicker. Before I speed it up, I just wanted to tell you that I do use some pockets in the basic um, um, foundation of this bag. So I wanted to show you here that I'm coordinating it with the boat. I'm just going to cut that out. And like I said, a lot of this stuff I'll do during the class itself to show you what I'm doing, but to keep this a little bit shorter. But since I have this in the video anyway, cutting on an angle, and then all you do is score. However you want to score, or you could just fold it over if you want with your fingers like that if you wanted to. It's probably better to score it. And I'm just going to go along my cut line. I think that's the easiest thing to do. Just kind of measure up the top and the bottom of the picture and get my scorer out. And then just do the 3 edges. Score. It's about a 1/4 inch score, and it's already marked on the printable for you. There we go. And then you'll just fold those over and you'll glue them. And I'm going to glue them to the right side, the left side of this particular page. Sometimes, like I said, it's a little bit better to work with the ephemera and the extras as you go through the study because you're not exactly sure what you want, like what kind of notes you'll be taking or kind of what you want to put on the page until you're actually in the meat of the devotion or the study. So it's probably better just to wait on that like we're going to do. But I am going to get, like I said, give you the foundations. All right, I'm going to put some music out so you don't have to hear me. Hold on. So again, most of these pieces I am cutting at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, just to leave that little extra um, framing around the photo. Depending on which side you want to save will depend on where you want to cut it. So you might have to flip your picture around. Like I want to keep the fencing, so I want to make sure that I'm cutting 4 1/2. So um, I'll flip it around and cut it at 4 1/2 that way. Some of your pages on your flip fold or whatever, some of the manila folder pieces, you might have to trim a little, and that's okay. Maybe just take your scissors or whatever and trim just a little bit to get it to fit on the page. It's just sometimes our folds are a little off because we're human and we're not perfect. And don't be like, oh no, now it's ruined. Just cut the piece. I just want to encourage you to relax as you're doing your project and have a little talk with God too while you're doing it. I'm sure He would love that. We're creating for Him. It's our worship time for kind of just meditating, and we could be thinking about, Lord, as we study and we go through this devotional workshop. Just open our hearts and our minds, just to hear what He has to say, even through the process we're doing now. You know, Lord, what are ways that we can rest our souls? What are ways that we can rest our bodies and minds and just be focused on You and not the craziness of the world and trust that You have everything under control. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead um, and show you. So these pages, um, I decided to use a little differently. I'm going to use a top half and the bottom half. And depending now, it really depends how much you want of each side. So I could decide if I wanted that little and cut it there, or if I want to go and have a little bit more of the top squares um, showing. And that's what I'm deciding here, trying to decide which way I want to do it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. And I have to say, the printables will come out different depending on how you print them, like whether you print them borderless or you print them and they still have a border on it. It might be a little smaller. Um, so you might have to take that into consideration. These were done borderless. So now I'm thinking you might, if you print it with a border on your original printables, you might have a little bit more of a frame around the outside of where the manila shows, the folder shows, you might have more of a frame. So that's actually going to matter. Um, and if you look at my original one, that one was actually with borders, and you'll see there is a little bit more of a framing of the manila folder. So it's not a big deal, but it's just a thought that I just had that, that is going to make a difference. It's so funny because I remember when I first started crafting and it was like everything had to be exactly the same and I wanted to look exactly the same. No, you don't. God didn't make us all the same. It's okay. We all want to be different. Actually, yours might look better than mine. All right, so I'm just going to cut up some more pieces here and let you roll. Put some more music on for you. I have to say that this is one of my favorite graphics is this cute little bird. I don't know, there's something about him. I did not mention earlier either, if you have tabs that are hanging out and you want to cut them off, that's up to you. Or if you want to add paper to the tabs, I'll probably show you a little bit later how to do that. I'm sure you guys will remind me. But like I said, I was keeping this very kind of cleanish, at the moment. What happens after we get into the study, I'm not sure, or into the devotionals. So I'm taking this next page and I'm actually just going to use a quarter of the quarter panel of this seaweedish looking thing. And I'm going to place that on the page. And then I'm going to add just a strip to the bottom. You know what? I'm not sure now. Let me see. I think I added as a pocket. And I decided not to close it all up. So that one, I left it at the length that it was. And then I'm just going to add a piece. So you can add the piece as a pocket or you can add the piece just as a decoration. And you'll see that in a second. And I do notice that my pages are a little off. So this is where I'm just going to trim it. I'm going to use my scissors just to trim off the piece. No big deal. It's all good. Okay, so I'm going to glue that on. And then I'm going to take another piece from that sheet, and I'm just going to do probably like a 2-inch, depending on how tall you want it, bottom piece. And now, actually, you could do the bottom or the top, totally up to you. I chose to put that bigger piece up top. I'm going to put that in there. I already know I have to trim it up a little bit because I'm just deciding I like the the pattern with it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with the other one. And then this is when I decide that I'm going to make it, that's right. I did make it into a pocket. So what I'm going to do is just glue down 3 sides of the piece of paper and leave the 4th side open and up so that this way, I'll show you in 1 second, that you can put a little tab in there or card in there or whatever. Okay, time for some music. All right, so that finishes up the main part of the journaling part of it. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me or email me, and I will be glad to try to help you out with your questions. We're going to go over to the fold part here. Basically the same thing. We're doing the 4 1/4 by 5 on this one. I think it's exactly, so I'm cutting off just a little bit. Uh, I'm okay with leaving that little tab piece. Actually, I might even put, stamp something on that later. Okay, so these, when I leave things blank for me, it's giving me space to be able to do something later. That's why I don't worry so much about it because I'm not stressed in making sure it gets all done at one time. I mean, it's about an hour that we're doing this, so it's okay. This is all about rest and relaxation. Aren't these printables just awesome? It really actually it reminds me of Maine. A lot of these photos remind me of Maine. So it's a little twist on the regular beach theme type of um, journal. Again, the same thing on this side, deciding what you want to use. And this is also by 5. So 4 1/2 by 5. Actually, I think it's 4 1/4. Sorry. 4 1/4. Sorry. Oh no. It's 4 1/4. I'm sure you figured that out by now. And on that piece of paper, it doesn't really, the two pieces of paper I used, it doesn't really matter as far as the direction it goes, but you might want to think about that when you're cutting it. When I'm doing journals like this, designing journals or whatever, it reminds me of doing puzzles, putting the pieces together. And this middle part here, we're going to leave blank for now. I'm trying to decide if I want to put a background piece on it or not. So I'm just going to wait. I'm not really sure. So we're going to go down to this bottom piece here. And that piece is a 4 1/4. I think it's 4 1/4. It's by, I think it's 3 1/4. Actually, it's by 3. Wait. Yeah, it's by 3. So that piece is 4 1/4 by 3. We know it's going to just fit right there on that cute little. I think I had to trim it just. No, I didn't have to trim it. Okay. So we're almost done with this. I hope it has been relaxing and not stressful for you. So just to reiterate here, I will be doing 5 videos with 2 devotions per video from the Beaches Calling book from Mary and Martha. And then I will also be using the verses that Diane gave us in the printable pack of the Beaches Calling Rest and Relaxation, and showing you how you can journal using scripture and your faith, and just meditating on the word as we create and grow in our relationship with the Lord. Small print of the stars is cute, so I'm actually going to cut it down to put on my front piece. Which is 4 1/2 by 2 1/4. 2 1/4. 2 1/4. Um, so you'll get to meet some of my friends. These friends are my Monday night group, along with Diane, and they are going to share in our devotion time with us. Deborah Sabata will be coming back to spend some time with us. She's a very good teacher. And of course, some of my other good friends, my other sisters. Okay. And now I thought it would be cool just to use the other half. Well, actually, let's see. I'm going to do, I was going to call them lifesavers. I guess they are. Again, the 4 1/2 by 3 on this one. So we're going to cut that down. And then I'm going to actually use the other piece for the top part of it so it kind of matches. This is totally different than my first journal I did, which is really cool because I like them both, honestly. All right. Then I'm going to take that piece, and I think I have to cut it to 2 1/4. Yep. It just looks cute on there. All right, so we're winding down here. We have a little bit more to do. I'm excited. Okay. I feel bad not talking. Should have music going for you guys. But we're almost done on this part of it. You can trim some of the around where the curves are. That's all what I'm doing as far as this is concerned. All right. That part I'm gonna show you in a second. Uh, And I'm just showing you. We're going to do that part in a second. I'm going to show you, but I just wanted to show you the difference. Some of the pieces I kept the same. Now we're going to cut down. I'm cutting down a 12 by 12 piece of paper because it matches the design of the uh, printouts that we have, the digital images that we have. So you want to just kind of find something in your stock. If you have an 8.5 by 11 piece, you won't have to cut it. But if you have a 12 by 12 piece, you will have to cut it for what we're doing. We're going to fold it in half vertically and then open it up and then fold it in half again the other way. And then we're going to open it and do a cut on one side of the short sides. So just go right up into the middle of it. Make sure it's a double-sided paper. I mean, you don't have to because you can cut a piece to fill in, but you're going to see in a minute. So what I did was the opening is to the right. One piece I went forward, one piece I went back. We're going to take the corner and fold it up. And we're going to open it back up, just making sure that your open side is to your right. And then the top corner, we're going to fold down. You're going to love this. It's like the coolest thing ever. Okay, pretty simple. And then just fold it up. And then we made pockets, 3 pockets. So now I'm just going to show you one more time. We folded that piece down, fold it over and up. And then we're just going to glue the sides of it. You're going to see me go all the way on the side there. Don't do that. Wait, there is okay. But when we go to the gray side, we want that down for sure. But that edge there is shorter. So I go all the way up. Don't do that. You're going to see in a second. I mess it up. I realize I mess it up. So of course we're keeping the tops open so that we can put ephemera into there. And I realize, uh-oh, I glued up. And then we're just going to place that in here. You can put a background if you want, but I chose not to. I just realized my nails kind of match this. That was not done on purpose. And I'm just going to center it in there. All right, let's do a flip through. Our front. We have the little pocket. And like I said, as we go through each week, our 5 weeks, I will show you the ephemera, how I've used it. You may use the ephemera any way you want. All right, so that's that. Most of the pages are the 4.5 by 6.5, with a few exceptions. What do you think? What do you think? You can even put a little Velcro on that one piece in my right hand if you wanted to. Okay. And then before I show you how to clasp it, I'm just going to show you. This one is my original one. So you see the pages are a little bit different. I actually put a tip in there. I added some ephemera. I didn't finish this one yet. I could add more to that one if I wanted to, or if this is one that I want to give away. Well, this one I can't because I'll have to keep this one and maybe give my other one away. Oh, I wanted to show you that I did edge a little bit of inking, inking of the edges on that previous page. I did do some inking of my edges around the ephemera or around the ATC cards. Still, this is just a basic kit. I didn't even finish. There we go.